Thing Media Group presents Primetime Profiles, introducing you to innovators, disruptors, and those making a difference. You'll hear from companies and their CEOs explaining how they're changing the competitive landscape. Welcome to Primetime Profiles. Let's do this.
Hi, and welcome to Primetime Profiles. Before we get started, today's presentation includes a forward-looking statement. A link to that, as always, was provided in your sign-up form. If you have not read it, please do so, as it is considered part of this interview. For convenience, we will also include a copy of it at the end of this broadcast. So today we are meeting with Nir Brenmiller, COO of Brenmiller Energy. The company is a leading global provider of thermal energy storage solutions for industrial and utility customers and trades on the NASDAQ under the symbol BNRG. So it's great to have you with us today, Nir. We've had some great recent conversations, which I know is going to bring a lot to the table today. So before we get started, I want you to share an overview of the company. But before we get into the company, I want to ask you, obviously your name Brenmiller, this is a family owned, founded business. How did you get started with the family business? Were you there from the start? How did that begin?
Yes. Well, thank you for having me, and I'm looking forward. And indeed, we started the company many years ago, over 12, and we were coming out of us and the founding team. Us is my father, my brother, and myself. Coming out of solar, part of a company that was building the solar projects with the technology that was developed in-house. This company was acquired by Siemens in 2008 with a substantial pipeline and a very nice deal. And after spending a few years under Siemens, and when this period ended, it was really crystal clear to us that something is missing. We were deploying solar, but it was still early days, and the grid was not congested. So you can pour anything to the grid, and the grid could handle it. But we saw if you want to get into full decarbonization, meaning you are getting to really high penetration of renewables, you can't rely only on intermittent sources. You must have some balance, or turn it any way around. You must have various type of storages that enables you to charge when the sun is shining and discharge when you need it. And so it was clear to us that the next big thing will be energy when you need it and not energy when the sun is shining. And we went out to develop a thermal storage, a heat battery, and I will explain why a heat and not an electrical really soon. But yeah, we founded, my father, brother, and myself, in this business for over 12 years, and these are exciting times now.
Amazing. And after a few conversations with you, I understand that you have entered a really important and special phase of the business, which is the growth stage, which is a huge milestone, really, especially when the initial validation. I mean, how many years did it take in R&D and validation to get to this pivotal point?
Being in clean tech and hardware and core generation of energy is a slow business, and it took us many years to pass initial validation, testing, then lab scale, then small customer scale, and then large customer scale. And today, after building 4 pilots at a significant scale for corporates or utilities, we are safely entering the growth stage. We have already signed 3 purely commercial deals with various companies, and we have enormous amount of projects pipelined for the near, long, and medium term. And I think that the inflection point was where we proved that it makes sense both technologically and in terms of economics. We can be cheaper than fossil fuels or natural gas and be 100% clean. So it's a win-win.
Amazing. And as a family business, how do you all feel about this growth phase in terms of your excitement and how do you feel with this achievement?
Yeah. Well, the only thing that is family here is the atmosphere. We are building a corporate. We are building all the infrastructure in terms of locations, premises, people, machinery, production floors to grow fast. We are coming out of corporates. We know what's needed. We are building the business network and partnerships to scale fast because you cannot grow organically and step by step. In these markets, you need to create an initial and critical mass of projects so you can play, in the court of the big players. So we are now starting to see the fruits of our labor because we also invested many years in this infrastructure, not just in the technology.
Okay, so you're saying that also these new projects and these new corporations means that you have all the infrastructure for scalability and growth and everything you've been working on for these past, I guess, 12 years.
Right.
Now you have these external resources, let's say.
Right. We are a fully vertically integrated company. We start with source materials and we end up after building layers of hardware, software, algorithms, AI, you name it. We are providing one-stop shop to deliver clean energy to the end client, starting with our really source materials. We have put in place a gigafactory already to deploy these batteries that was financed by the European Union and is fully operational nowadays. So yeah, we are ready to ramp up.
Wonderful. And something we spoke about recently is the fact that you do a lot of your R&D locally, which I think shows a lot of integrity in the company because a lot of corporations these days are outsourcing globally. So how do you feel that affects the quality, the fact that you are there, you are able to oversee everything, I would say QA. Do you feel that that has a big impact on the quality of the products?
Absolutely. You need to deliver energy in the most reliable way, trustworthy. You are entering, we have a project with a subsidiary of Heineken. You cannot let them down. They are replacing their boilers. They will not produce. So quality, and it's not just a matter of how fast or cheap you can put the system in place. It needs to be, these are core systems. So we have invested a lot of time, efforts into, as you mentioned, quality, assurance that it will work. We pay more to get high reliability of the product. I think that the market of thermal batteries is really exploding now. We are building the company to be the Rolls-Royce of this segment, okay? Why people are still buying Rolls-Royce generators? Because they want to trust them. And we want to be the Rolls-Royce of thermal batteries. So people, you will not pay as you pay for a Rolls-Royce, but you get the same, the same feeling that you bought the best system that you can get.
Amazing. And what would you say the top values as a company you believe in?
Well, we believe first in transparency. We believe we are, as you mentioned, we are a family business. We work only with customers and partners that we feel great and we enjoy the path with them because at the end we are going to long-term partnerships, and if it will not work from day one, it will not work ever. I think that our values are, we have long-term relationships with clients and partners. So I think this implies on everything. You don't go for fast wins. We develop these relationships for many years. Many of the relationships we are developing today are people we know for more than 20 years from the solar business. So we invest for the long term.
Amazing. And I think that has a huge impact on the company as a whole, energy wise and everything on, as part of the values to have trusted partners. Because when it grows, it's not just about you, it's relying on the people that you partnered with at the beginning. And I'm sure the investors are happy to hear that. And by the way, we have some questions from investors later, which I'm going to throw at you at the end. So just letting you know before we get to that. And something else I wanted to chat about is that you have a 120 million capital startup. And what was really interesting is that $40 million of that was actually backed by your family, right?
Yeah.
So that to me amazed me. And I think that's really rare that someone would invest themselves such a large amount, right? So can you share why you decided to put such a large amount into investing in your own idea?
We didn't decide it at day one. We just started. Then we got really excited on what's going on here and the value proposition. Until the technology was proven and we felt safe to go out and raise capital, we did not go out. So most of the money we invested at the beginning. Having said that, in the follow-on rounds, we still participated in most of the rounds, showing our conviction and how sure we are this is something amazing. We have invested all this money just to get the technology to the market and get the pilots in place and get the production plants in place and the infrastructure. Going forward, we will not need that amount of money to growth, and most of the finance for the systems is in project level. So I must say that we invested a lot of money, but to take a technology from an idea to the market during 12 years, this is what it cost.
Yeah, wonderful. And I think that shows a lot of integrity, which seems to be a word that's coming when you're describing your partnerships and how you run the company, which I think is great. So I want to speak about your recent or the 2023 mention in the Time magazine for best inventions of 2023. Can you tell us about that? Because that's a pretty big recognition, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It was amazing. I think that first, we are not alone, and the whole segment of thermal batteries. I mean, maybe, a couple of sentences of what the hell is a thermal battery and why do you need it? So, and then I can get into why did we get this recognition. Most of the energy out there is heat. We often think about electricity. Okay, we have electricity to charge our phones or whatever, but anything you eat, anything you wear, use materials, district heating is heat. Energy is actually heat. And it never goes through electricity at all. 17% out of global energy is electricity. A quarter is transportation, the rest is heat. So it's a huge market. Industrial boilers alone are a quarter of global emissions and energy. So now you want to move from burning gas or burning fuels into some intermittent source. And like you need a battery for your phone, or like you need a battery to electrify your car, you need a battery to electrify the industrial processes. And it doesn't make any sense economically or physics to use a chemical battery to store electricity in this process. You need something that will convert electricity or take heat to heat. And this is exactly what we developed. We are using crushed rocks, and these crushed rocks are very good at store heat at low cost. And then we heat it up like any toaster or home boiler where you heat the water. So instead of heating water, we are heating these rocks. And when you need the heat, we discharge it using either hot air or water to generate steam or thermal oil. And this is really simple in terms of idea or process, and really complex in terms of product. because you want to make it reliable, you want to make it stable, you want to make it last for 30, 50 years. And this is why you get a Time Magazine award, taking something that no one thought about, you know. Also to produce a wheel today, it seems to be pretty simple, but the first one who thought about it. So I don't
Mhm.
know if we were the first, but I believe that we were among the first to make it into a technology and into a machine. You have stones at your pizza oven, you have stones at your sauna and your massage, and we took it and made it reliable industrial scale machine. And specifically, the Time Award came for a project we did with Enel, the Italian utility, where we added a system like this to a power plant in north of Italy. And now this power plant is flexible. It can react to the grid in terms of when you have high solar days and the power plant needs to go down. Power plants are really not flexible. So now we enable them this flexibility. And when the sun goes down, we push the heat back to the turbines and they can generate and not lose gas and emissions.
Wonderful. And I have a few questions that came up there. First of all, so the product is zero emissions, is that right?
Yes, if you are sourcing clean electricity, and this is what we do mainly, then it's 100% clean. On site, it's definitely 100% no emissions.
Wonderful. And the award that you won, so that was really solving a problem. So are you saying that in the future, in your growth stage, things will come up where you are actually solving many problems with the product, and that will be part of the growth?
Well, first, the low-hanging fruits are where you are solving issues.
Mhm.
Um, so yes, if you have a mission or a target as a corporate to decarbonize, and you need to reduce your carbon footprint every year, and you replaced your LED lighting, and 80% of your energy is heat. Okay, so you need to do something with your boilers. We are there for you. Having said that, you will not pay more. In most of the cases, we are giving discounts on the cost of steam from natural gas. So yes, we are solving problem, but you are solving a problem and getting a more attractive offering. So that's a great offering.
Yeah, amazing. And these are all obviously pointing towards the company's value drivers. We spoke about a little bit about values, but in this context, can you expand a little bit?
Well, first, we have a proposition to the market that solves many issues. We help the grid. We support the grid. The grid is congested in many hours. Check out negative prices in mid-USA. Check out negative prices across Europe. Every weekend recently, you have negative prices, meaning the grid is so packed with electricity when the wind is blowing and the sun is shining that people need to pay to put electricity into the grid. So first, we can get the electricity when the grid operator wants us to. That saves him a lot of trouble and a headache and money. So we get paid to get the power. And then, as you mentioned, we offer a solution to corporates to decarbonize. Then we offer them stability. You know what's going to be your energy prices for many years now. You are hedged. And we offer a model that you don't have to pay. You just do it as a service, energy as a service or heat as a service. And so that's a really comprehensive value proposition for the grid, for the customer, and of course for us. We are for-profit company and we are able to provide all these perks and still make money.
Wonderful. And these are all really relevant to Brenmiller's business pipeline, obviously, which is in press releases and has been noted to be in the hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Can you expand on that potential, perhaps?
Well, first, we invest a lot of time and effort in AAA corporates. We believe that it's a long process, but once you're in, you have hundreds of sites per client and for life. And so we are doing a lot of processes that are long and that we will see the fruits of these processes along the way. Some of them are starting to show up. Being a small company in such an early stage with such a massive pipeline already, I think it shows that we have something of value, okay? Because these are extremely, I would say, conservative organizations. They don't rush into energy projects, but if they see such a value proposition and they see that we are not alone, we are coming with strong partners. We formed some JVs and partnerships with developers and companies that are longer and bigger than us in the market. And I think this is why you see in such a fast period of time or short period of time, you see such a massive pipeline.
Wonderful. And these targets include as well contributions from bGen Zero Systems, which is designed to meet the needs of industrial processes requiring continuous heat production.
Yes.
At a recent conference, you also highlighted the system's commercial rollout and the potential contributions from it. Can you expand a little bit about that?
Yeah, this is our main business product for the short term. Electricity to heat, charging from the grid at negative prices or close to zero prices, and discharging heat at the client site. We have additional products and services that will serve our growth in the near future. But the bGen Zero value proposition is so strong today that we focus. This is our low-hanging fruit. We have a product for power plants where we provide steam to steam. We have under R&D an amazing solution for data centers for cooling. We use the same systems. Instead of heating them, we are cooling them. But these are all medium to long term. They will come in the second wave of revenues and pipelines. We have just around $500 million pipeline to process and turn into actual orders and deliverables. So we are focusing on that project, on the bGen Zero and the revenues he will drive in the short term.
Well, it sounds quite big, right? The future here sounds very bright. So you also offered that pipeline projection before your most recent deal with Green Energies and Verity. How will those play into the planned growth that you're speaking of?
This is part of the infrastructure to execute these projects. These are developers with a strong balance sheet and reputation in the market. They will assist us first to deliver the current projects. They will assist us with developing the envelope of the project, the grid connection, the renewable you need to source. They will assist us with non-dilutive financing. If we are required to finance and dilute $500 million, then we did nothing. So these are players that will help us to finance at non-corporate level, at project level, and grow the pipeline. So it's part of the plan.
Okay, wonderful. So the progress obviously made is significant over the past few years, which is amazing. And as I noted a little bit earlier on in the interview, I plan to hit you with a few harder questions, I would say, from investors. So we polled several of the investors over the blog sites. Are you ready to take on some questions?
Bring it on.
Go. And I'm not going to use their names just for privacy. So I will pop the initial so the person sees that we are sharing their question. All right. So PC from iHub, it says, I'm excited about the pipeline. Can you provide some insights into when the company might start to drive revenue growth? There's a lot of revenue questions, by the way. So
yeah, I understand. I know for a company at our stage that for an investor, I guess this is the most important part of the puzzle. We started converting the pipeline into projects. We already signed 3 deals. And I think that the first ones are the hardest ones. So we will deliver around mid-25. The subsidiary of Heineken will be delivered. I think that we will continue to execute and turn these opportunities into revenues. Having said that, please bear in mind that we do have a period of time between we sign a deal, even get paid, until we can recognize the revenues, because we either sell the equipment, then we get recognized by the end of the delivery, or we sell it as a service. So every year you see a recurrent revenue model, but you have to do your ROI on the investment that I mentioned will be at a project level, non-dilutive financing. I hope this.
Wonderful. I guess there's a bit of patience that's needed for the timeline when a deal is made.
But actually, most of the patience was required back in the days. Okay, now I think it's just sit back and wait for more positive news, more deals. It's not easy to deliver these deals, but it's also something that we are working hard for many years, and we will deliver more deals and more news.
Okay, wonderful. So RCC from StockTwits is asking, your updates are encouraging and usually represent a step forward to scoring significant revenues. Why do you think the share price isn't responding to that kind of news?
It's always tricky to refer to a stock price. Opinions are my own now. I think that we have a huge gap between the value we created in the company and the market valuation. I can think about many reasons why the market took this position in the past. I don't think it's relevant for the future. I think that private companies that are way behind us in terms of, market ready and delivering systems are getting financed at hundreds of millions of dollars valuation and inflows. And I think that we already developed the technology. We already raised most of the capital we needed to deliver what we promised. So I think and hope, and this is why I'm still here, that with the future positive announcement that we will put on more projects and more technologies and more products and additional markets and partnerships, at some point the stock will align with the actual value of what we do. We didn't start this company to be a microcap company, okay, and we didn't put this infrastructure in place to be a microcap company. I think that we are a microcap company only in valuation.
Okay, great. And I guess the growth stage is very reflective of what is coming up in the future, in the near future, with the possible changes in the stock prices.
You can never say, but we are doing everything we can to promise and deliver. And if you take back, take a year, take 2 years, look at our presentations, look at what we said going to happen in the next weeks or quarters, and did we or did we not tick all the boxes? At some point, you will gain or regain the market confidence that you deliver on what you say. And this is the time where I believe the stock price can adjust.
Thanks, Nia. Wonderful. And we have another one from StockTwits. CJ is asking, please talk about growth through acquisition and or partnerships in the sector. Is that the pathway that you envision Brenmiller taking to grow quickly? If so, how can you keep deals non-dilutive? Which you actually answered a few of these.
Yeah, we answered it pretty much, but I can say that I don't think that in the short term we need to do an M&A. We have enough. We have developed enough technologies. We have enough partnerships, and I think that in the medium and long term we do have plans on what can benefit our growth, but we don't need this extra juice. Okay, we have enough in our hands. Hundreds of millions of dollars that is growing fast. So when we will have the resources, we will of course, use these tools. But for now, we have enough in our hands.
Wonderful, thank you. And this one was emailed in. If you don't discuss work with the EU, can you discuss the value? If you didn't, discuss work with the EU, can you discuss the value from the work completed there and when we may see revenues from it?
The EU is our main market. The regulation is far more advanced than anywhere else. Corporates that wants to decarbonize are mainly in Europe. Carbon pricing is mainly in Europe. Natural gas prices with the Russian, Ukraine situation are volatile and high. So the value proposition of our technology in Europe is by far the best in the market. So now we have formed the JV in Europe. We operate through Madrid. We open countries, country by country, almost every few weeks. We enter into a new country in Europe. And I believe that maybe 80% of our projects and revenues in the short term will come from Europe. We can source electricity at negative prices. We can provide grid balancing. That's an amazing playground for us. And I hope this answers. Not by chance that the European Union financed a gigafactory for us. They see the huge impact this can make in the continent. And when a AAA bank loans you money to build a facility, they saw the pipeline, they believe they can get their money back. So we are bullish on the European market.
Amazing. Thank you, Nir. And thank you for really being so transparent all the way through this interview. And of course, in response to the questions from the investors. And it's obviously no secret that the investors want immediate returns. And sometimes there's a timing difference, as we mentioned, in getting to that point. So before we end this interview, is there anything you would like to add about what the investors can expect in the coming quarters, and maybe how that can satisfy their near-term expectations for an increase in the share price?
I think that, as I mentioned, new projects, revenues, growth is the only thing that matters once the technology is there and working. Okay, so we demonstrated, there is no doubt that technology phase is behind us. Of course, we continue to evolve and improve and take the costs down. But mainly, we will work hard to put new projects, recurrent revenues, and hopefully this will influence and impact the stock price as well.
Wonderful. And I think the whole interview really shared that in summary, right? Everything that we spoke about today was all about the growth and the impact that your company has, with the strong partnerships, the values, and the hard work that through the first stages of building the company, and now it's coming to the next stage of growth. So wonderful. And Nir, can you share where investors can receive updates, learn more about Brenmiller, and the milestones you intend to reach?
Absolutely. We have an active website. We have a YouTube channel. We have a busy LinkedIn page. We put PRs, so you can get them through all the PR channels, Yahoo Finance, whatever. You read your PRs, and I think it's enough. We share everything we can. And I hope you will enjoy the ride together with us. And I thank you very much for having me today.
Wonderful. Thank you. So just a simple Google search should bring up actually quite a lot of your...
Yep.
And what's the website? Was it Brenmiller Energy?
It's bren-energy.com.
bren-energy.com. Excellent. And I'm sure you will be willing to, of course, continue this conversation offline. That also includes...
And feel free, by the way, you can email us through the info@Bren-Energy, and we always reply.
Oh, amazing. Thank you. So, Nir, thank you so much for all your insights for the investors. And that concludes today's Primetime Profile. If you would like to rewatch or to share this interview, it can be accessed through On Demand 1 hour from now. Until next time, I'm Nicole Brody. And as always, stay Primetime. Thank you.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Primetime Profiles, presented by Sure Thing Media Group. We love introducing you to innovators, disruptors, and those intending to make a difference to innovative publicly traded companies in biotech, consumer, financial, and the technology landscape. We hope you enjoyed the show. We had a blast. Make sure to like, rate, and review the show. And we'll be back soon. Till then, see you next time on Primetime Profiles.